皆さん、こんにちは。私はリアニです。そして今日は IELTS Writing Task 1の話を続きましょう。In the previous video, we have showed you how to write our report. So we talked about what happens in the writing module of the IELTS. Aside from that, we also talked about the pattern and how to write our introduction, and also the correct and the proper vocabulary words to use. Now this time, we will be talking about what to write in our report. So what are we going to write in the introduction, and what are we going to write in the body of our report? So let's get started. 始めましょう。So このテストはどのぐらいにかかりますか？これは25分にかかります。This takes about 20 minutes. Okay, so first we will be talking about the introduction. So the first part of our report, we are going to write an introduction. This is made up of two sentences. And it should be at least 150 words. So more than 150 words. In order for us to get a better grade, we aim for 160, 170, or like even up to 190 words. That's very desirable. So what do we describe in the introduction? Okay, we will be describing infographics. Infographics, okay? So what are infographics? Infographics, we have this in our previous video. We talked about what are the different infographics to describe. What are these? We have, for example, we have the line graphs, okay? We also have bar graphs, okay? Pie charts, tables, and we have, lastly, flowcharts. Okay, so you're given any of these graphics here. So what you're going to do in the introduction is to describe what you see visually. So the challenge here is, can you convert infographics to words? So you're going to convert what you see into descriptive words you describe. Infographics wa yoku noberu koto ga dekimasu ka? Okay, so keep it simple and straightforward. Next, we have the body. So this is the body of our report. So this is the most important thing. What are we going to write in our body? So let's talk about graphs. Okay, here. So first, we're going to look at our graph. If you're given a line graph or a bar graph, a lot of students find it really difficult, especially when starting, because when they look at the graph, they don't know how to start or what to do with it. Now, okay, we are going to draw this is our XY axis. We've also learned this in the previous video, how this looks like. So this is our x-axis and we call this our y-axis. So we have to know the information on the x-axis and the y-axis. You have to look into that. Say for instance, okay, in the x-axis our information are the years. So we have a 5-year range here. 1995, 2000, 2005, and 2010. So for our y-axis, let's say, okay, these are the number of tourist arrivals in millions. 10, 20, 30, 40, okay, let's have up to 50 million. So this information here are very important, so you have to look into that. So ranges of time, this, okay, it's important to to look into this information here. So, what is in the range of time? Okay, here, the peaks and the valleys. Let's have a bar graph, say for instance. Okay. Okay, so this is a sample of a bar graph. Now, you notice in 1995, 2000, and 2005, okay? It's 30 million up. It's in a high. So we call this as our peaks. Peaks or highs. And in 2010, 20 million. So it's in the lows. We call this as the valley. Okay? So you have to consider and really look into this one. This is really important. Okay, aside from that, we have to check on the stability. Okay? So here, let's try to make a line graph as well for this. Okay. Just very simple. Okay. So same, like we have x and the y-axis, and we go like same information above. So say this is 1995, 2000, 2005, and 2010 for the last. Okay. So you notice that in 2000 to 2005, this remains stable or remains steady. So there is a plateau. There's a plateau in the period 2000 to 2005. So you have to look into this as well. Okay? This is what you're going to write in your report. Now, we have patterns and trends. What are we talking about in this phrase, patterns and trends? In this graph, okay, we also base it here. From 1995 to 2005, okay, we have 3 range of time here, period of time. You notice they're all up there in the peaks. So above 30 million tourists arrivals in the country. So there is a pattern, same pattern, they're like similar. They're in the peaks. So we call this as patterns. And then we also have this 20 million in 2010, so it dropped. So this is different from all 3 we have. Now, what do you write in your report? You don't have to write like in 1995 this and that, in 2000. No, you don't do that. You have to summarize. Okay, you talk about the 3 year into one context. You summarize it. Take note, we are only given 150 words and up. So you have to make your sentences wisely. So, okay, you write, summarize what happens in this trend, in this pattern, and you have to focus more details on the trend. This is what we call an exception because it's out of the trend. It's an anomaly. Maybe there's something that's going on why this. Of course, you don't have to write that because you only have to write what you see, description of what you see. But of course, you know for a fact that there must be some anomaly that happens in this part of the year. But you don't write that. You just write what you see, that it dropped dramatically in this period of time. Okay? So for the table, say for instance, tables, well, you know how a table looks like. We showed you in the previous video as well. Okay, table goes something like this. What are the things that you have to pay attention? The rows and the columns. Okay, there are some headings that should be written in the rows and the columns, which you have to really look into, and you write your description about it. Now we have diagrams here. So for the diagram, when you say diagram, it talks more likely of a process or a cycle. So when you think of cycle or process, there should be the beginning and the end of the process. And it goes on and on. Now in the diagram, you have to talk about the start, the finish, start and the finish, and between that, of course, there are some scenarios that is happening between that. However, you have to take note only of the major steps, or what we call the milestones. Okay, like for example, the life cycle of a butterfly. So the life cycle of the butterfly starts with the egg is being laid, and then it hatches and it turns into a pupae or larvae, and then it starts to grow wings, and then it starts to fly. So these are major steps. These are what we call milestones. So you talk about it. You don't have to talk the daily, like every day, how the egg goes every day. No. Just the major and the big steps. Now we have this similarities and differences. What are these? So when we say similarities and differences, it is most likely considered similar to our patterns and trends. Okay? Similarities, these are the similar trends. You can see that specifically in like year 1995 to 2005, they have similar patterns. So you write about it. And take note, you summarize. You don't have to write every year that's happened. And the differences, so this is the different. This is maybe the year that is really low or shows is out of the pattern. Okay, so you write more details about the differences. Okay, so how to split paragraphs or report. So for the body, we can split it up into two, depending on whatever you're given. Okay, so first, the graphs. In the first paragraph, you can write the trends, all the trends, the similar patterns, summarize it into one paragraph. On the second paragraph, you go more detailed on the anomalies or the exceptions. Something that went out the pattern, you can focus on that on the second paragraph. So for tables, probably also same, like similarities and the differences on the second paragraph. First paragraph, same as the trends, you summarize. Okay, don't talk about it every year or one by one. You may lose a good sentence. Okay, then the second paragraph, you can talk about the differences, and you go more detailed as well in this. For charts, okay, this is a process, like what I gave, the life cycle of a butterfly or life cycle of something, or a cycle, cash flow perhaps. This is a flow, a cycle, so it shouldn't be cut. Okay, you don't have to split up. It's okay to write only one paragraph for that. Okay, for example, you're given two graphics. It could be a pie chart and another one. Two graphics. This is very easy. So you just have to write about the first graphic on the first paragraph, and you can write about the second graphic, your description, on the second paragraph as well. So what else? Okay. Remember, you only have to write facts. Whatever you see visually, you have to describe it. Okay? We should talk about facts only. No opinions, no conclusions, no explanations, just facts. Okay? So I hope that this will help you do better, do well, and get a good mark in the writing module, task 1 of the IELTS. では、ありがとうございました。See you! また今度ね。